And we're back to talk a little tennis. Yada, how did our women do?
Oh, they were fighting. They went all the way to the SWAC tournament and made it to the championship game. They were battling up the hill. Jackson State came in really getting it done in the regular season. And so they gave it everything they did, but they fell a little short in that matchup as they lose 4-0, as they like to say it out there, I guess, in the tennis world, in terms of being shut out. So kudos to the women for fighting and getting to the championship game. We can get in a little bit of softball in terms of the women in softball continue to get it done. Conferences, they're 13-8. Overall, they're 13-27. They had a big matchup, as we talked last week, as they head to Mississippi, Alcorn State. They move into the West. People recall from the football season. And they were one of the better teams in the western side of the division. So you're starting on the second half, so it's important that teams continue to play well. Gave you an early heads up. This should be a good matchup. The good news is they took 2 out of 3. So they continue to roll and get it done. Anytime you can take 2 out of 3 in baseball, softball is important. You like the brooms, but particularly on the road, you'll take 2 out of 3 any day of the week. Very competitive matchups. First game on Friday. They jumped out in the first inning 2-0, and they made it last the rest of the game as they won 2-1. Then they go into the doubleheader part on that Friday, the second matchup. Got out ahead of them early again and really turned it on. That's the game they lost. They lost 7-2. It means you want to see a team that can bounce back and see if they can get to that third matchup. They got it done. Another close one as they scored 2 runs in the 5th to tie it up at 2-2. Then they get 2 in the 7th to win 4-3. They let 1 scratch in the bottom, but it wasn't enough for the Braves. So they get it done as they win 4-3. And as I said, take 2 out of 3 in that matchup. Going to baseball, they just continue to surprise everybody, excite everybody. But at this point, you shouldn't be surprised anymore. They win, and they bring out the brooms as they win, go to 15-4, I should say, now on the season. 14-4 overall, 24-18 with the overall winning record. Get it done in fine fashion as they take on Pine Bluff. To give you some updates in terms of that, they brought out the bats. The bats continue to do really well. I'm excited about what we are seeing down there. Pitching pretty solid, but really are able to swing the bats in good stead. They win on Friday in terms of that matchup, 10-4. That was a home matchup as you were out there. Get out there Saturday. Saturday was an exciting matchup as it goes to the 10th. Deuce was back out there with me, and it was hilarious.
Hey, Deuce got no choice but to be in athletics and coaching, bro.
Yeah, they gonna do it. This is gonna be intriguing to me because I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's funny when you talk about it. So we're in the stands. Raymond's up there. We're texting Joe, trying to calibrate where everybody is. Shanetta's talking about, hey, we'll meet you over here. So we're coordinating, doing our thing. Deuce is in the stands. He asked to bring this little book that he writes in. So he draws the field. He has the scoreboard, dugouts in there. So he's serious, talking to man-to-man bases and stuff like that. So Prairie View gets the first 2 outs, and they get in a little bit of trouble. Guy gets a hit. Deuce yells out, "Come on, man, what are you doing?" So a couple folks look back and they chuckle. And I was like, where is this? Do I need to? So he gets another hit. Said, "What are you doing?" They just chuckle. Somebody turns around and says, "I just love you, son." Say, "Yeah." Somebody comes back in there, "Yeah, what are y'all doing?" They get the out. He claps and said, "That's what we're talking about." They score a couple of runs. He starts cheering. Then we have to go, and everybody's like, "Where are you going?" So we got to go see the football scrimmage and stuff like that. So it was hilarious. This guy is funny. But I really want to give a shout out to the bat boy. There's this bat boy that can't be more than about 5 years old, little tiny fella. And he is worth the admissions. Unfortunately, we're not charging for the game, so you can get out there. But obviously, the team is playing well. They're exciting. But he knows all the guidelines. When they drop the bat, he waits until things are cleared up, and he takes this long circle like he's supposed to make sure he stays out of the way. He gets the bat, picks it up with 2 hands, and then he moves those little feet, and he's running back to the dugout. They give him high five when they start the game, and before you get up there, he runs in and he has all his little things. And then they show at the end of the game that he also has the dance. He does the little dance with his feet, the hot dance. Oh, baseball is exciting. You already know in softball, they do all the cheering. But baseball has found a way to become entertaining as well. To sum it all up, I know we get a little long here. They win the game in the 10th inning, 10-9, really showing you just how good they've been in terms of what's going on, which is the fact that you had Alex Martinez with a big game because he had the walk-off 2-base to right field hit that scored the winning runs. And he had 3 for the game. So in a lot of ways, he was the difference maker. But you had Zach Trev that hit 3 hits, and that's at ZACHTREVV. I'm going to give out some of these like we're talking about, make sure our fans can follow some of these folks on Twitter. You got at _BJDA Kid getting it done, at GOO_Ray. And so these guys are getting out here making things happen on the baseball field. So I wanted to give them a little love there as you get it going. And that is Zachary Trevino that I spoke up with the first at, if you would, on Twitter. And then let me give you another one. Brandon Johnson playing some good baseball as well in terms of just being big time. Then you got simply Yay, as he likes to go by and call himself, as he's continued to get big hits, running the bases, stealing and getting it done. But yeah, go check out Happy Hustle, HAPPIHUSSLE, if you want to see the version of the young man that is doing his little dance. It's worth the time and chuckle. So I just wanted to give you a full report. Congratulations on Prairie View as they ended the sweep today, as they do it in fine fashions. They go up 5. Pine Bluff scores a couple of runs throughout that matchup, but they ended up getting the bats hot and putting up runs throughout the game, and they win in 20-10 as they run rule Pine Bluff.
20-10?
Yes, yeah. Send them on their way.
Yeah,
so again, as I tell you, this team is playing some really good baseball.
Yeah.
The other update I can give you just before we go out there is there's still 1 game ahead of Grambling that swept Arkansas Pine Bluff, but they stretched out the lead a little more against Southern, as Texas Southern won today, which means they took 2 out of 3. So Southern falls back a little bit. So each week, I'm going to give you an update, not just on the Panthers, but to let you know teams behind them, to make sure we can find a way to close out this regular season in fine fashion.
One quick note on the baseball. For the first time since I've been kind of tracking stats, you got 3 Panthers in the top 5 in batting average.
Yep.
That's been a long time. I don't know if people realize how big a deal that is. You got Brandon Johnson hitting 400 batting average, 625 slugging average. That means every 10 times he stepped up to the plate, it's going to be a double, triple, home run, extra base hit. Then you got another one. You got Jamil Bastardo. Oh my God, he's batting 375, but he's batting 700 nearly, or 675. So we'll call it a 700 slugging percentage. Then you got Zach Trevino. Then if you want to go top 10, you got Sebastian Correa. Now, normally in these facts, we look at it. This is why it's a big deal. It's normally Jackson State, Alabama State, right, and those folks have now it's 4 Panthers in tops in batting, and that's why Prairie View has been fluctuating between number 1, 2, and 3, depending on who they play. What the batting average is. This is a big deal, folks. I don't know what for those of you who play baseball like myself back in the day, this is a big deal. You got 3 in the top 5. That is normally reserved for Alabama State, Jackson State, and now that we bought FAMU and Bethune in there, they were leading basically the MEAC. Now it's Panthers doing this. So, and you've got 2 recruits. I'll just add this from Summer Creek, which is 14-4, making the playoffs. One of those is Tiger Donato, who is playing big time, who is actually committed and coming to Prairie View as well. So they are doing the job recruiting on the field. So I just wanted to add that in there. They're doing big things on the diamond, as Dr. Cavil alluded to.
Hey,
Well
I'm
said.
gonna. I know we said it, mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but I got to give shout out to Coach Riggins. He said he responded properly to the hot seat instead of making excuses and playing with, you know, as if you were already out of the door. He put his head down. He kept coaching. He kept recruiting until he figured it out, and he's turned this thing around. So I got to give shout outs to Coach Riggins. We got to get him on the show.
He said, "Hush."
Oh, he extinguished those flames.
I talked
He
to him about coming on to the show, and he's ready to
Great.
He said RELAX.
Relax.
relax. And the last story I will say, B. White, shout out to Coach B. White, Deuce, as we went back over there to congratulate him to see where they did get the big hits. As I said, Alex Martinez, he asked for a baseball, and they got him a baseball. So he's been fly high. I had to go catch it with him today, Mike.
I like that. I like
Oh,
that. That's how you cater to the fans.
I taught him the four-seam. I taught him the four-seam curveball.
I saw that. He was so excited too with that.
That sounds like Dr. Cavill's Windows gonna find out what that curveball is like.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
All right. Excellent reporting. And we'll be back with Meet Me at the Flagpoles.